Before we dive in, if you're serious about historical survival techniques and want to keep learning alongside us, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This is the kind of knowledge you'll want at your fingertips when winter tightens its grip. Today, we're going to explore a topic that merges raw history with practical survival. Creating winter survival shelters by digging into the frozen earth, just like the Vikings and other northern tribes did to endure harsh winters. This isn't theoretical fluff. We'll cover methods, materials and strategies you can apply in your own survival planning while appreciating the ingenuity of our ancestors. The first thing to understand is the sheer logic Vikings applied to winter survival. When temperatures plummet and snow piles deep, surface shelters like tents or wooden cabins become difficult to maintain. The ground, surprisingly, can be your ally. By digging into soil or frost-hardened earth, ancient people leveraged natural insulation. The earth maintains a more stable temperature than the air, often hovering just below freezing even when the wind cuts through the landscape. For practical application, this means that a well-excavated trench or pit can keep you significantly warmer than trying to huddle above ground. Modern survivalists can replicate this by choosing a location sheltered from wind and away from water runoff, ensuring the ground isn't saturated and will hold its shape during excavation. To start, you must select the right site. Vikings often chose areas on a gentle slope or under the partial canopy of trees to protect against wind and drifting snow. Avoid low-lying areas where water pools, as melting snow or ice, could flood your shelter. Once you have your site, the first step is digging a trench or pit. In frozen soil, this requires patience and the right tools, a sturdy spade, an ice pick, or even a steel bar for prying hard soil. Ancient people didn't have modern metal tools, yet they leveraged bone, wood, and stone implements with remarkable efficiency. You can apply the same principle today by preparing a digging strategy. Cut the frost in layers, breaking off thin slabs and removing them carefully. Attempting to hack through frozen earth all at once is inefficient and risks collapse. Right, so next, think like the Vikings did about shelter structure. They often reinforced pit walls with timber, stones, or thick branches to prevent cave-ins, creating something akin to a half-subterranean cabin. You can replicate this by lining your dugout with logs or even sturdy branches in a crosshatch pattern. Once the structure is reinforced, you'll want to focus on insulation. Earth alone provides a solid thermal barrier, but adding natural materials, dry leaves, moss, or animal hides can dramatically improve warmth retention. Place these materials along the walls and floor before you settle in. Historically, Vikings used moss to line their sleeping platforms, reducing direct contact with cold soil and creating a breathable layer that kept moisture at bay. Ventilation is critical, even in winter. One of the most common mistakes in dugout shelters is sealing in air completely. Vikings often incorporated small smoke holes or wind vents near the roofline of their semi-subterranean homes to allow stale air and smoke from fire to escape while limiting drafts. Practically, this means when building your own survival pit, leave a small vent and keep your fire or heat source at a safe distance from walls. You want warmth without risking suffocation or frostbite from cold air entering directly. A small controlled fire inside a clay or stone hearth is historically accurate and will elevate your shelter's internal temperature substantially. Access and egress also matter. Vikings often built their entrances on the leeward side of the wind, sometimes slightly raised above the surrounding snow level to reduce infiltration of cold air and snow. For modern survivalists, consider constructing a small entry tunnel or snow ramp to achieve the same effect. A partially covered entrance helps maintain internal warmth while preventing snow from blocking your exit. A lesson that can mean the difference between a safe shelter and a dangerous one in a sudden storm. Finally, maintain your shelter with vigilance. Frozen earth shifts, snow accumulates, and insulation materials settle over time. Vikings understood the importance of routine checks and adjustments, often shoring up walls or replenishing moss and branches before the worst weather hit. You can replicate this by inspecting your pit daily, ensuring walls are stable, vents clear, and insulation intact. Even a minor oversight in winter can escalate quickly, but careful attention ensures the shelter remains a reliable fortress against cold. By following these principles, you're not only learning a survival technique, but connecting with centuries of human ingenuity. The beauty of digging a winter shelter like the Vikings is its simplicity and reliability. A well-constructed pit can maintain warmth, conserve energy, and provide a sense of security that above-ground structures simply can't match in extreme cold. Use these techniques to supplement your survival knowledge, test them safely in controlled conditions, and always refine based on local terrain and climate. Frozen Earth. Fortification isn't just about survival. It's about understanding the mindset, strategy, and resilience of northern societies. Each layer of earth you excavate echoes with history, teaching lessons about human adaptation and endurance. If you found this guide valuable, share it with fellow history buffs and survivalists, and subscribe to The Prepper Historian for more in-depth explorations into historical survival methods. Every time you engage, you help keep this knowledge alive and accessible for the next generation of preppers and history enthusiasts.